Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 127 of the All Dolphins podcast on this absolutely miserable weather-wise Wednesday,
Only
November.
miserable
Don't
if you
give
don't
me that.
like
It was
rain.
horrible.
If you don't like rain, it's miserable.
Not
But
the entire day.
okay, well, it's like living in Seattle.
Okay, or Montreal on a rainy day because when it rains all day. But here, we're not used to this. Anyway, Wednesday, November 15th, 2023. As always, we're going to start with our jersey number, shout out, respect, whatever, number 27. I'm going to go throw out two names that I don't believe we mentioned last time. The first time we did 27, maybe we did. Two running backs, one very positive, the other one not so much. 27, Lorenzo Hampton, first round pick of the Dolphins. I want to say 1985, out of the University of Florida, whose best game came in a very, very satisfying game. Omar, you were too young for this. Dolphins spanked with a capital S the Jets 45-3.
Why didn't he work out?
He was okay. He wasn't. Why are you saying he didn't work? Why are you saying he didn't work? He
Because
was okay. He was.
you would think a first round pick would last longer than his tenure did.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. I don't believe it was injury related. I mean, he was a solid player, but nothing special. But he was better than the fourth round pick in 2018, who did have a 75-yard touchdown run as a rookie, and then the following year set a record or close to it for futility with lowest rushing average. I'm talking, of course, about Kalen Ballage, fourth round pick out of Arizona State.
He went on to play for Adam Gase I believe, with the Jets, but his career quickly flamed out. Big body, athletic guy, just didn't necessarily have the instincts to find running lanes that weren't there, in my opinion.
Yeah, he also played for the Chargers. He played against the Dolphins for the Chargers at one point, and he might have had a cup of coffee with another team as well. And he also didn't necessarily endear himself to the South Florida media at one point when he was struggling with the rushing average.
Nobody cares about us.
I am going to say it anyway, Omar. Please
Nobody
allow me.
cares about
Because
us.
guess what? Because right or wrong, at certain times, somebody's exit will be made smoother if they're courteous to us, as opposed to Kalen, who was by all accounts a good guy, but copped a little bit of an attitude at one point when his numbers were really, really poor.
You know what's funny? Nobody likes to be criticized. And unfortunately, that's a lot of what we do in the media is we criticize guys. And, I'm guilty of it. The Eichenberg Express, it's taken off. And I mean, I'm referring to the ride that you go on when Liam Eichenberg's in the starting lineup and you just don't know what's going to happen or where it's going to go and if it's going to crash and be a disaster or if you're going to end up at your final destination.
But here's the thing. To me, it's always, and my thing is always, and this applies to us too. We get criticized. I mean, as we look in the comments, we get criticized a lot, and everything is fine. It's cool and all that. Disagree by all means, but this should apply to us where we're dealing with players as well. Is don't make it personal.
Yep.
And don't do it like viciously. I'm teetering the line with Liam, who's a good guy.
Very
where I'm almost like, are we being unfair to him? I mean, the guy has not had a great career, but is Eichenberg Express a little bit much? Anyway, let me finish can I finish? Let me finish my Ballage point, though.
Go ahead.
Because Ballage at one point after his stats were really, really poor, and at one point he got a chance to get back in the lineup, and the obvious question was, do you feel this is a chance of redemption? And he very snarkily said, like, I don't have to prove myself to anybody. Okay. And we were all looking at each other like,
that basically is code word for I have to prove myself to everybody. So
correct. Yeah, but he did it in a way that he didn't garner a whole lot of sympathy from us, and just so. Anyway, go ahead, go defend your Eichenberg Express.
I am bringing up the Eichenberg Express because out of default, it looks like Robert Hunt will not be playing and not be in the lineup unless he's at practice tomorrow. But Robert Hunt, Mike McDaniel is on I'm focused on getting us where we need to go when the games matter in the playoffs, and that means getting guys right. And I mean, he was talking about positions and blocking and if I put him out there at 70%, will that hinder him? And I need him to be effective, so I'm basically going to sit him. And by default, that means Lester Cotton and more than likely Liam Eichenberg are your starting guards for right now, if not the foreseeable future. I think they're very comfortable and confident in Lester Cotton. Talk to Teron Armstead, and Teron's like, that's my guy. We're going to get it right. He's going to be good. Don't you worry. Now, the other side, we got to hold it down till Rob Hunt comes back, and it looks like Liam Eichenberg's going to be that guy. And it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. To me, the biggest issue with Liam is his ability to anchor up against 300-pounders, pass rushing. He just looks like he's on skates. And we really got to get that cleaned up in order for the Dolphins to have a chance. Now, I'm not saying it's going to impact them drastically against the Raiders, but you are only as good as your weakest link on your team. And if your weakest link is on your offensive line, ooh, hold on. What you shaking your head for? What you shaking your head for?
Because I'm not buying it.
You don't believe in the Dallas Thomas effect?
No, I do not believe that Liam Eichenberg, in a worst case scenario, has the ability to bring down the entire Dolphin offensive line and offense by consequence against the Raiders. And with all due respect to my good friend,
hold on, against the Raiders or against anybody? Clarify your statement.
Well, I'm going to start with against the Raiders, and even against the Jets. To me, you would have to be some kind of a dumpster fire to be so bad at one position on the offensive line, at guard, mind you. This
Dallas
is not
Thomas.
Why, man? This is we go with the shots again at Dallas.
I'm just saying, Dallas Thomas.
It wasn't just him single-handedly.
No. Dallas Thomas, for every game that he started, he was good for 5 bad plays. No, those 5 bad plays would be a holding call. It'd be a false start. It'd be a sack he allowed. It'd be a tackle for loss that he allowed. It'd be a whiff on a block that pressures the quarterback, leaves a sack. Those 5 plays could happen on any drive. And so let's say you have 10 drives and you have 5 negative plays on 10 drives. How helpful do you think that is, or how hurtful do you think that is?
It obviously doesn't help, but if you're talking about 60 offensive plays, and let's say that 5 are ruined because of one guy, you still have 55 plays.
So, yeah, 55 plays, and a lot of those plays are going to be negative plays that you got to have to dig yourself out of. 3rd and 14s, 2nd and 13s. And I'm not saying that you can't do it, but don't beat yourself. And to me, that's really my concern. I want to give Liam the benefit of the doubt. And I want to hope that this is, to me, because here we are, the Dolphins basically said, you're a center. We're going to develop you as a center. This is what we're going to do. Everybody else is going to play over you at guard. Then we run out of everybody else. And then we're like, oh, God, we got to play you back at center. I mean, we got to play you back at guard. This is where we are. We're going to make the best of it. To me, this is the last chance. This is your Michael Dieter moment. You either can play or you can't play.
Okay, here's the thing, very important. And again, as I started to say before, with all due respect to my good buddy Hondo, who was selling the Raiders defense hard. Hi, Mila. Who was selling the Raiders defense hard. They're 28th in the NFL against the run. The yards per carry average allowed, even in their wins against the Giants and the Jets, the past 2 games have not been good. They have 1 pass rusher. Max Crosby has 9.5 sacks. We're all agreed he's a stud. Do you know how many sacks their second leading sacker has? 2.5.
Yeah.
And it's a middle linebacker by the name of Robert Spillane. So there is nobody in that front. And their defensive tackles are Adam Butler and John Jenkins, former Dolphins, who you started kind of semi dumping on yesterday.
Baby, I'm taping a podcast. Can you please go upstairs and watch your cartoons? No. Okay, sweetheart. Go ahead.
Okay. Adam Butler, John Jenkins, 2 former Dolphin interior defensive linemen who we'd like to were okay as complementary players. Now they're frontline players for the Raiders.
Hi.
Not the same.
Hi.
Hi, Mila. So I think Liam's going to be just fine. I think, and even if there are issues with Liam, the Dolphins running game has been most successful running outside, not straight up the middle.
Okay, that was when you had athletic guards. Right now, you've got Lester Cotton, who hovers around 340 pounds. Is he going to be athletic enough to get out on the edges? And I know you got Devon Achane and that speed, and it's coming back, and I think it's going to be in the lineup. But are you really comfortable saying that you have the guards to go out there and get second-level blocks in this situation? Are you sure?
Well, you don't need second-level blocks to get a 5-yard gain or an 8-yard gain. You might need it for a 50-yard gain. And that may be something that's not in the cards until those guys come back, or at least until Robert Hunt comes back. But to suggest that the running game is going to disappear, I'm not.
Hold it down.
Yep. I'm not on board with that. I think that the offensive line is going to be just fine, even with Liam Eichenberg and Lester Cotton starting at guard for the Dolphins against the Raiders. Again, the Raiders, they're just really not a great team. They're a different team now under interim head coach Antonio Pierce. They're not quite. They're a 5-5 team, and I don't think they're on the level as the Dolphins. Not even close. While Omar's taking care of some business, let's run down some business here with the Dolphin injury report, the first injury report of the week. DNP today: Braxton Berrios hamstring, Chase Claypool knee, Rob Hunt.
That's important because it's not the knee for Braxton Berrios.
True that. Alec Ingold foot, Rob Jones knee, Durham Smythe ankle. Nothing that we did not anticipate based on what's happened previous Wednesdays, based on what we saw on Monday with Berrios and Claypool. Ingold and Smythe have been non-Wednesday guys. Limited Achane with the knee. Teron Armstead with the knee. Raheem Mostert now is ankle and knee. Before it was just knee.
Watched him practice today. He needs to shut it down.
Oh. As in miss a game, sit, or not practice?
Not practice the rest of the week.
Okay.
In my opinion, if we're going to make it to game day, that you clearly need to rest. And because keep in mind, it's very odd that Raheem Mostert practices on a Wednesday.
It is.
I'm not sure what's going on with the hamstring and the knee, but that was not Raheem Mostert. So.
No. And then the Raiders had two guys who didn't practice. Three guys. Two of whom are fairly significant. Is their starting left tackle Colton Miller. He's got a shoulder injury. I don't believe he played Sunday night against the Jets. And then Amik Robertson, who I asked Hondo about in terms of, from my perception of him being their best cornerback. He sustained a concussion in the game against the Jets on Sunday night. Did not practice. Will he clear the protocol before Sunday? Who knows? I know Hondo was pitching Marcus Peters.
I love Marcus Peters. I love Marcus Peters. I think
what Marcus Peters' opponent passer rating when targeted was against the Dolphins in week 2 last year.
That's week 2. What is his?
I understand that. By the way, no, and this year's is not great either. But in that game, it was 153.3. The perfect mark is 153.
Okay. It was good.
Listen,
it was bad. He got picked on. He got targeted. He got abused by Tua. He probably didn't do necessary prep work that he needed to do to make it through that game, and pretty much got embarrassed. But let's take a look at what he is this year. Let's take a look at see where he is in terms of his passer rating right now.
It's not great. And here's the thing with Marcus Peters.
It's a 94.3. It's not horrendous. It's not great, but it's not disaster. He's allowed 64% of the passes thrown at him to be completed. He's allowed 2 touchdowns. It's not great, but it's not horrible. But keep in mind, this is a guy who, if he wasn't a head case or a guy that had a ton of drama throughout his career, he'd be a clear-cut, coveted free agent 33 interceptions in his career. We're not talking about a slouch here. You catch Tua, catch him. Tua, he could catch Tua slipping, and it could cost you.
No, and his career has been. He's only got one pick this year. His career has picked. He's gotten interceptions. He's also somebody who's going to take gambles and he's going to get beat.
Absolutely, no question.
And that's what happened. But he's got some ability. But again, to me, the Raiders are a much better team with Antonio Pierce. But again, I'm going to say it again: they beat the Giants and the Jets, so at home. Mm-hmm. So I'm not that concerned.
Anybody can get it. Anybody can get it on any Sunday. Joshua Dobbs is out there winning NFL games without even knowing the offense. Let's put some respect. Anybody can win a game.
Why are you bringing Joshua Dobbs into this conversation?
Because I'm making the point of you act like anything can happen on any Sunday. People want to walk into this game and think that, the Vikings are just going to come lay down and let the Dolphins do what they want to do with them. And I'm like, no, this is a team that's dangerous because they're fighting for an interim coach. They're fighting for their own safety on the organization's contracts. They're fighting for their future. It's a whole organization fighting for their future right now.
And they will play hard. The Raiders will play hard. There's no question about that. But as you like to say, let's not pretend like this isn't a game talent-wise that the Dolphins should not win and win comfortably. But having said that, yes, they have to take care of their business. Speaking of which, taking care of some of our business, Connor Williams spoke after practice on Wednesday, and shocker, he said the snap was his fault.
Yes, he said.
I am shocked that he would say that.
Of course, he's going to say that. I got from his perspective, he's got to put it on the numbers. It wasn't on the numbers. Okay, thank you. He took ownership, took responsibility. Props to him. We also got to get into the Tua and the haircut, the braids, the cornrows.
We're going to make a thing about this.
I mean, we are. There's a new look Tua.
I know.
Now there's a new look Tua, a little bit more edgy. The beard is a little thicker. The hair is cornrowed. You're not worried about edgy Tua?
No, because that's this. And then I'm glad you brought that up because I wrote a story on alldolphins.com about that very topic. Because if that gave you an idea that Tua's changed, he's a little more edgy. He's like, I don't know, stepping out, whatever. I don't. This isn't me trying to act hip or something, whatever. That he's changing. To me, that all disappeared when he was asked a question. It was, what would it mean to you to be named NFL MVP? And what did he say? I don't care about that. I want to win the Super Bowl. And that's the essence of Tua, who is one of his most redeeming qualities. He is the ultimate team player. And just like Connor Williams did, like it was my fault on the snap. Tua, beat him to it before that.
And everybody you ask is going to take responsibility. Mike McDaniel took responsibility. Connor Williams,
and I said that, but it's still it extends beyond that. Tua is always, when they do well, it's always the team's doing great. Everybody's playing a part.
When they not do well, it's my fault. Everything's my responsibility. Correct. And that's true. That's true.
But that's what a good quarterback, good leader does.
Okay, when you make the $200 million contract, it is all on you. Now,
not if Cedric Wilson's running the wrong route and you have to adjust at the last second. Then no, it's not on you.
Hey, Tyreek runs wrong route all the time, and Tua adjusts and makes a touchdown. So I don't want those excuses. I don't need that.
Good. Don't make him sound like he's superhuman. Sometimes it happens that he can make the adjustment at the last second, and it's not on him. But it's a good leader who's going to say, "That's on me."
Listen, I think the hair, the tattoo. It's Tua being more comfortable in his own skin, figuring out who he is, creating, and there is an edge to him. Think about this. He's doing this on the first week that there's Hard Knocks. This is how the nation, a national program, is going to see you. That's serious. This is who I am, and he's cornrowed Tua.
He's also, here's the thing though, he's also getting older.
Yeah,
his career has done nothing but progress in a positive way.
Yeah,
he's also now he's been married for what, a year and a half now.
He's on his second baby.
Correct. I didn't on the second baby.
Yeah, she's pregnant. You didn't know that?
Maybe I don't. Uh, so it's. I mean,
I
it's
mean,
part of the.
it's not baby's not here.
Well, no,
She's
no, I got that. But it's part of the evolution, and it didn't just start this year, because you remember the term "salty Tua" started last off season, not this year.
absolutely.
So,
We get one thing we have to address is Devon Achan. He's coming back. He looks good. He looks like the same old Achan, fast, elusive, got the speed. That's something that I'm very curious. I think he's definitely going to be in the lineup, especially with what's going on with Raheem Mostert. I think he's definitely going to return to having a prominent role. And this is also a great opportunity for Jeff Wilson to step up because Savon Ahmed's got a rib injury as well. So that's something that's new to us, and we got to figure that out. And right now, I'm a little bit concerned about the Dolphins' backfield because, as you pointed out to me so eloquently, the Raiders are what, 29th against the run?
28th or 29th, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that sounds like a recipe to run the damn ball. Especially when you've got a guy like Max Crosby on the other side. You want to make sure that he's being passive as opposed to being aggressive, and that means run at him. So it'll be interesting to see what the game plan is, but obviously it's going to be good. HN has to be activated on Saturday. I fully believe that he will be unless there's a setback. Let's just hope this offensive line can open up some holes and create some running lanes for him.
Completely agree. And no, Mike McDaniel was asked at his press conference today, is he going to assume a normal workload? Or are you going to have him on a pitch count and all that? And as Mike would say, speaking very eloquently and very, how can I put this delicately? Expounding thoroughly on the question. Basically, the bottom line was that he's going to see how it goes and doesn't want to make any predictions, which obviously is
Yeah. It's Wednesday. We got our full
But
contract.
if the dude is right, after what he showed you before he got hurt,
He's got 12.1 yards per carry average. He was the second leading rusher in the NFL when he got injured, and he'd only played really 3 games because he got 1 carry for 5 yards in the 4th game that he participated in. So it'll be interesting to see what he does when he's unleashed. I'm also curious about Braxton Berrios and Chase Claypool. Braxton Berrios didn't practice this week. We saw him in the locker room. He looks fine. It looks like to me he might practice tomorrow, might be on that Thursday plan. I don't know about Chase Claypool, but Braxton Berrios, if he doesn't play, River Craycraft is going to have to step up. Mike McDaniel was really praising River Craycraft for the amount of work that he put in, hard work. River also is one of the best blockers on the team. That's according to Tyreek Hill, one of the best blocking receivers, and he also knows all 3 positions on the offense. So no matter what they do or where they move, River Craycraft will know his assignment. So, but to me, the curious thing is who handles the kickoff and punt returns if Braxton Berrios is not allowed to play.
Said would take care of the punt returns, in my humble opinion.
And who handles kickoff?
That one's a little trickier. Noah Benagany's been using that role. Oh, sorry, he's no longer on the team. Sorry. Well, let's start with the premise that does it really matter? I mean, everything's a touchback, and if it's not a touchback, have somebody who can catch the ball, maybe Cedric Wilson again, and just tell him fair catch anything that's
obviously
to play. So
I think you also have Savon Ahmed, you have some Jeff Wilson. I think a number of guys have been able to handle that role. So I think they'll be fine, especially against this opponent, which is the Raiders. Even though I'm not taking the Raiders lightly, I think that you need to focus on being able to keep guys healthy and get them into December so you can be peaking at the right time, which Mike McDaniel has hammered into my brain.
Yeah, and no, I hear you, but to me, it's always been more about let's not have re-aggravation of injuries like they did with, and he learned, if he didn't already know it, he learned like a bitter lesson with Connor Williams when he played against the Giants and aggravated, and then he lost him for 2 more weeks, and he's certainly not about to do that with other players. And the interesting thing with the Raiders, I caught like a little snippet of Antonio Pierce's press conference today. So apparently their plan was to be in Orlando throughout the week to practice.
Mhm.
Not exactly sure why.
Get used to the heat and humidity.
It's
So what
mid-November.
happened to the plan? Is it
It's mid-November and it's pouring. So I mean, it was like in the 70s today. But Antonio Pierce nixed those plans, and he was talking about he's already packed the the running game and the defense, because those things always travel. That was his good line. But I look at that team offensively. Aiden O'Connell's their their quarterback. 3 of their last 4 games, they've scored 16 points or less.
They've still got the best receiver and running back combo in the NFL, so I think that gives you a chance. And one of the best pass rushers in the NFL. Those are 3 major components. Yes, you don't have the quarterback, but I think you can figure it out and find a way, which means they're probably going to be a dangerous team.
Is this where I pull out my stat about the Dolphins as double-digit favorites this year
Go
and
for
last
it.
year?
Go for it.
Well, I forget now because I think they're now 6-0 or 7-0. No, 6-0. That's against the spread. Forget the record. Against the spread, they cover every time. It happened this year. Against Carolina, they were double-digit favorites. Against the Giants, they were double-digit favorites. I don't remember. I don't believe they were double-digit favorites against Denver, even though they would have covered very easily. Those are the only home games that they've had, but they've taken care of their business even after falling behind 14-0 against Carolina. So I am now one to poo-poo a game, and this is where the Dolphins also have been very good because
they've taken care of business at home.
Correct. Well, no, forget taking care of business. If you look at their losses, I mean, they have not lost to a team that currently has a losing record, and I don't know if any other team in the NFL can say that, because the Eagles' loss was against the Jets, who currently are under 500, and Kansas City lost to Denver, which currently is under 500.
Yeah.
So the Dolphins have been very, very good at beating the teams that they overmatch in terms of talent.
Yeah.
Anything else stand out from the Mike McDaniel?
Nope. And I got to go because I got a spazzing out toddler. So I definitely appreciate everybody for watching and listening. You can find all our work on alldolphins.com. We will be back tomorrow to wrap up Thursday's contact padded practice and give you the latest on whether or not guys return.
And Coordinator Thursday also.
Coordinator Thursday, where you get to hear Vic Fangio and Frank Smith's musing and telling us their tales about their defense, which Vic's defense is picking up. Number 12. Can they get into the top 10? We shall see against struggling Las Vegas Raiders. On that note, we're out. We will see you tomorrow. Alldolphins.com. Like, subscribe, share with a friend. We'll see you tomorrow.